Well, Mr. Thomas Jane, how are you today?
I'm hanging in there, pal.
Good.
I could use a little more sleep, but other than that, I'm okay.
Well, let's talk about this project and maybe how much sleep it's been taking away from you because it has been quite a journey for you. Here we are talking about the Canadian
Hmm.
release of this, which is
Hmm.
great. I'm hooked already. I only got the first two screeners, but I can't wait now for the
Hmm.
rest of this first season to stream.
Right.
But this must have been something that you started probably, if my math is correct, about 3 years ago. So, how did we kind of get to this point, and how much
Yeah.
has it been a little bit of a journey for you?
No, and the fact that it's just coming out, season one is just coming out in Canada now.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. I don't know. I guess the pandemic shut the world down in ways that we're still trying to wrap our minds around. I was grateful to have the job as a producer and a an actor to go to Australia. We shot this smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. So I was the only person on the plane to Australia.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I had the entire plane to myself. And then spent, 4 5 months out there shooting that sucker. And then flew home with a slightly more crowded plane.
Well, that's good, at least on the way home. Well, it is a great series, or at least the first two episodes that I got to see are very, very
Candace is
good.
great. She's Candace Fox, Australian writer. Highly recommend mystery thriller. Readers should check out Candace Fox. Her series is called the Crimson Lake series. That's what we base Troppo on. Um, and we fill in our own twists and turns. But I think we're faithful to the characters that Candace created.
The great thing about streaming and about even if it takes years for Canada to get season one, we're
Yeah.
exposed to global cinema and global television and actors that we might not get a chance to see their work. I wanted to ask you about working with Nicole, who is amazing, not only in her role, but what's your partnership like with her?
Our relationship is very professional. Um, these characters are tough to play. There's no room for interpersonal relationships when you're dealing with these parts. It just gets muddy. So I'm happy to show up to work as Ted and then go home as Thomas. But as far, I directed a couple of episodes, and Nicole looked at me and she's like, "Who am I talking to?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is me, the director. So we'll talk about that later." So she hadn't really met, me.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a interesting moment. I'll say.
I like to play amateur psychologist when I get to interview my guests because I couldn't help but notice, there's a propensity for playing damaged ex-law enforcement characters who kind of fight alcoholism. So,
Right.
this is joking, of course, but are there any demons we need to worry about, Thomas? And more importantly, what are the draws to a character like that for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's a little bit of a cliche, but wounded heroes is something I'm attracted to. I'm always looking for that role, but that comes in many flavors. I like trying to explore, so to put something on the screen that we can sort of relate to. I think that there's a lot of pain in the world, and it's hard. It's hard to wake up every day. So reflecting that in some way, um, is a good thing.
Speaking of an artist who I think creates a lot of pain, you're an avid Stephen King reader. If it weren't obvious from your body of work, but what has drawn you? We were just talking about Candace's writing, but what draws you to King's writing so often as well?
I don't know. I just got lucky. Somehow I ended up in three of them. I'd love to do a fourth. He just happens to be, I think he's the greatest living American writer.
Speaking of luck, then, can we talk about The Mist? Because that to me is one of the greatest casts that I've seen in a long time. I think a lot of those actors were kind of up and coming, but then you had Andre Brower and, Marcia Gay Harden as well. I mean, what was
Right,
that like for
right.
you?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, that's what you're always looking for is an ensemble cast of great actors that you can bounce off. That's the dream. We did that with Boogie Nights. We certainly did that with The Mist, and everyone shows up. With an imagination like Stephen King, you get other artists who are like, I know what to do with that part. and and we saw that in spades with The Mist.
Let's also talk about another great cast of up and comers, maybe one film that you don't talk about quite often. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was your fourth film, I think. Did you ever get a chance to kind of catch up with any of the people that became something like yourself? I mean, Hilary Swank, Ben Affleck. Did you ever get a chance to run into them and say, do you remember that film? I don't think you guys ever had scenes together, but it's just
Right.
crazy the talent that came from that little
I know,
project.
amazing, right? No idea how that happened. But I made friends with Paul Rubens, and we stayed friends, until Paul died. That was a great relationship. He was a mentor to me. He was very much a recluse, but I'd go and visit him at his little mansion up in the Hollywood Hills. That relationship meant a lot to me, especially as a young actor, just trying to figure shit out. And then, of course, David, who was just a terrific guy and a funny guy, and we were young. And I think somehow that led to me meeting David's sister, Patricia, and that led to me having a 21-year-old daughter.
Yep, yeah. Oh
So
man.
you
So
never know. I mean, what comes out. It's just, one day you go and audition for something, and you can, and then 21 years later you've got a kid.
okay, everybody's going because it's fresh on everyone's mind. The character was brought up in the film as well. Was there any time where you got a phone call or a text about your Punisher possibly showing up in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Nope. Nope. I've kind of put that character to bed. I'm going on 56. So my dream would be to direct something close to the character of Frank Castle. I still have a soft spot for that guy.
Well, the short film that you created in 2012 was
Right.
amazing. And I remember just the internet losing its damn mind because
Hmm.
that was really well done and it showed, how close that character is to your heart. So, can we maybe try and push the campaign that you direct the feature film if Marvel ever is ever going to create one?
Look, I've directed a couple episodes of Troppo, had a great time. Those are a couple of my favorite episodes from season 2, and I'll be directing more. And I would love to do something, if it's not, Frank Castle, but something in that vein. Like that character, that project has yet to be nailed. We still don't have the perfect Frank Castle film. And yeah, I would absolutely love to get that off the ground. Finding the right story is going to be the challenge. I think I mean, obviously it's doable. Just haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, we're talking about comic books, so let's go back to the Lycan a little bit. Going to be released in 2025. What can you tell audiences about it? And I really want to hear about your influences because you grew up reading these kind of pulp magazines like Tales from the Crypt and things like that. So, what are your horror influences as well? I'm noticing the skulls behind you as well. You got to explain that.
Yeah, this is where I keep all the producers that end up pissing me off. My influence is Bernie Wrightson, huge influence on me. And I'm always trying to stretch in that direction, right? When it comes to visual storytelling. And oh, the problem is I can't remember the title, but there's a French werewolf movie.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yes, Brotherhood of the Wolf. Right, Brotherhood of the Wolf is a great title.
Yeah.
And I think that we were influenced in that direction with that.
That's a great project. Well, that's got me really interested in this comic now. Thank you so much for your time, Thomas. And like I said, Canada is fortunate enough now we get season 1. I look forward to season 2, but best of luck with the show in the future as well.
Thanks, buddy. That was fun.
Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.